I'm so glad to be here. My name is Jenny, as Jessica said, and I've been recently moving from the realm of the holistic world into the more business entrepreneurial world, and I was used to being surrounded by women all the time. And now all of a sudden I'm like, how come there's so few of us over here? So I feel really passionate about bringing more women's voices into the mainstream and stepping forward. And so I'm happy to be someone who is standing on this stage and seeing all of you as women who are interested in doing that as well. So tonight the talk is about how to help groups bond really quickly and really easily. And so if you think about why would that be important, and for me personally, I feel like, there's so much going on right now virtually, connective-wise. It's like, oh, I have all these friends on Facebook, but when I really need someone in my life who is there for me. And I think we're all really aching for this deep sense of community that we've lost. So to think about how can we, as a presenter, as a facilitator, as a speaker, as a leader, how do we help groups to get that connectivity and to basically transform a community of strangers into a community in 5 minutes? And that's what I hope to share with you guys this evening. So are you ready to get to know each other a little bit better? All right. So I'm all about experience first and analyze second. So we're going to just get you into your bodies, have a rocking experience so that you can learn how to apply this activity to your own events and learn how to rock the room, and we'll talk about it afterwards. So I invite you to put your pens and papers and everything in your hands down on the ground, and even if you have your stuff you can smush it underneath your chair and come to standing. And just take a few moments to shake out your hands and shake out your feet and wiggle it all up and down and all over the place. And we're going to do a little exercise. Actually, I have Magna come up here also. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn on the music. It's going to be loud. It's going to be fun. And I want to give you guys permission to just go for it, because no one can give you permission to be free except you. So just let it roll, let it rip, and have a great time. And the music will be going, we'll be moving around the room, and I definitely invite you to explore the whole negative space of the space and fill it in. When the music stops, you're gonna find groups of 3, and then you'll hold hands with that group. And then I'm gonna offer you a sentence down. So it might be like, my favorite flavor of ice cream is chocolate chip.
My favorite flavor of ice cream is cookies and cream.
Coconut bliss. And then we turn around and stand back to back. And that for me is the visual signal that you guys are complete. When all the groups are complete, then you're going to hear the music again. Then you get to boogie and shake it like you've never done before. And then we'll do this multiple times, okay? Are you ready? All right, so shake it up again, shake it up again, shake it up again. And let's hit the music. And just start moving around the room. If you're a group of 2 or 4, it's okay. Great. So your sentence stem is you're holding hands in this group. When I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be... What? When I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and as well. And here we go. Nice. And see if you can move through the room and allow yourself to make playful eye contact with the people that you pass. So when you find your group, you're holding hands. So one quality I really love about myself is, great. And when you're complete, you're standing back to back. Awesome. Let's hit it. You can get inspired by their movement. Can you mirror something that you see Great. So here we go. So one important life lesson I learned from my mother. One important life lesson I learned from my mother is, in one sentence, and we're off. See if you can put your arms in the air and your booty to the side. Arms in the air and your booty to the side. And change directions. And change directions. And change levels. Can you get low? Can you get high? Good. So mix it up. See if you can surprise yourself. Awesome. And a group of three. Group of three. The biggest challenge I am facing in my business right now. The biggest challenge I'm facing in my business right now, or in the work that I do in the world. So finishing your last sentence, whoever's sharing. Beautiful. Hit the music. See if you can let your head be involved in your face. Nice. And have as much fun as you possibly can in the next 15 seconds. What would it look like to have twice as much fun as you're having right now? All right, last one. Find a team of three. Okay, this is a deep one. This is a deep one. So finding your friends. Take a deep breath. Okay. The legacy I want to leave as a female leader is... Ooh, damn. The legacy I want to live as a female leader. What legacy do you want to leave? What? Yay, thank you guys! Okay, so just a little popcorn style, one word about how you feel right now. Energized. High, exhilarated, alive. Happy. Connected. Awesome. Inspired. Awesome. Yay, beautiful. Do you feel different than you did before we did that? Yes. Okay. So we're talking about these 3 keys to creating community out of a room full of strangers in 5 minutes, which is what that was just about. So curious to hear what your thoughts might be about what these 3 key factors are. If you have an idea what one might be, what do you think?
Move your body.
Move your body. What else? Yeah. Involving your senses. Yeah, there are no wrong answers here. Yeah.
Getting out of your head.
Getting out of your head, absolutely. Yeah. Making eye contact. So powerful, right? Yeah. No wrong answers, right? Like this sense of no judgment, like everything is acceptable and included, yes.
The power of sharing.
The power of sharing, absolutely.
Play.
Play. Doo-doo-doo. Touch. You guys are so good, you don't even know it yet. Yeah. Listening is huge, right? Yes.
Love.
Love. It's the greatest connector of all, right? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to reveal the 3 that I found to be most powerful. So in my experience, I'm the founder of the Movement Blueprint, which basically helps people to scale their message into a movement, to get communities engaged and inspired and activated around their message. The reason I teach about that is because previously I was the co-founder of a practice called Acro Yoga. Has anybody heard of Acro Yoga in the room? Awesome, okay. So that was my baby I co-founded in 2003, so that was 10 years ago, and basically spent 10 years traveling around the world catalyzing communities in this practice that combines yoga and acrobatics and Thai massage. And then at a certain point I felt like, wow, I really love these forms, but I really want to make this work more accessible to more people. And I started collecting these games and exercises that really didn't require much as a prerequisite to really get a lot of benefit. So I found that through these other avenues, I could create that same kind of trust and connection and intimacy in a group very, very quickly. So we'll talk first about the first factor that I love, it was said over here, which is play. So play is a really, really big, important one, and there's a wonderful quote by Plato that I love, which is, you will learn more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. Right? So when we talk, it's sometimes the persona, the personality that's speaking, how we want to be perceived. When we play, all of that goes away. Right? And we have this childlike wonder, this amazement that helps us to break down these crystallized ideas about who I am or who you are or what this is or what this isn't. Play is an awesome tool, especially to use with groups of people that already know each other, because it takes you out of your role, right? So play is an amazing factor that really helps a group come together because you're laughing. I think there was one about laughter, like you're enjoying yourselves, you're getting out of your mind, right? And that's a really wonderful thing to bring in. The other one is touch, right? Touch is so vital. And I personally feel like I love to be on the soapbox for a touch revolution, because in this country, and especially in the Western Hemisphere especially, we're actually quite touch phobic. And I was doing a bunch of research today for this talk, and found out some really interesting statistics around the fact that in America, what we think of as our comfortable personal space is 4 feet.
Wow.
And in other cultures, like South America or some Asian cultures, it's actually 1 to 2 feet.
Wow.
So it's almost like twice as much. And I find that for myself too, being in America. And I love touching people. But I walk around and I sometimes in the subway, I'm like, I get really possessive about my personal space. So it's a natural thing, but it's also something that we can overcome. And when babies don't get touched, they die. Touch is not a privilege, it's a right. It's a human right. And so when we make that physical contact, statistically, it lowers our stress. There's a great quote here that I pulled. The more you connect with others on even the smallest physical level, the happier that you'll be. So it's literally statistically proven that more touch and more connection physically creates happiness. So it releases oxytocin in our brain, right? So it helps us to bond, to feel connected really quickly. And I'll tell you that I just got a puppy about a month and a half ago. He's so awesome, and I've been wanting a puppy for many, many years. So I got this puppy, and I'm just cuddling with him, sitting with him, playing with him all the time. And I had to leave last week to go to LA on a business trip. And I was I could literally feel the oxytocin withdrawal in my body, not having this little creature with me. So, whether it's a really simple, thinking about how you might apply that to your work or whatever you do, there's different levels of touch that are appropriate for different groups. But even if it's a high five, it's a hug, it's a pat on the shoulder, it can be very, very simple, but even just that moment of a touch on a shoulder can really mean the difference between people who feel isolated and people who feel connected. So it starts to break down that veil of separation very, very quickly. And the last one is, and I believe it was said, was said as sharing, and I'm terming it as vulnerability. Right? So when we were in our groups and sharing of ourselves, that's really powerful. We kind of started with some lighter, more playful ones, and then we kind of got in there. And who felt like they really learned something valuable about other people through that process, right? So it's a really powerful one. And I had a teacher when I was studying yoga, her name was Sophia Diaz, and I studied with her a lot. I grew up as an only child, very perfectionistic, very wanting to get it right, and started teaching a lot. And then at a certain point, as I was studying with Sophia, she was just totally ripped open, super vulnerable. She would cry, she would laugh, she would go crazy in front of us, in this spectacular way that I so admired. And I witnessed in watching her that the more vulnerable and broken open she was, the more I respected her. The more I was wow, I want to be like that. I don't want to try to be perfect for people. I want to try to be real for people and authentic for people and ripped open for people, because the more we give ourselves permission to be who we really are, the more we give everyone permission to be who they really are, right? And that's that sense of connection, that lack of judgment, that sense of acceptance that we can provide for other people. And last year I did this business program. It was a year-long business program. And on the first weekend, it was the third morning, they had everyone in the room and they said, okay, we're going to do this exercise now. Whoever wants to can stand up in front of the room and share the thing that you least want everyone in this room to know about you. I was like, wow, they are not playing. So, it was volunteer-based, right? You didn't have to go up and say something. But if you just ask yourself that question right now, what is the thing I least want this group to know about me? There's probably something that comes pretty quickly. Like there's that one thing that's like, oh, I'll show this, but not this. So there's that piece of like shame sometimes that we feel like, oh, this is my thing and my thing alone and no one's going to understand me or accept me or love me if I share that one thing. What would happen if I just shared that one thing? And then I have nothing to hide. And then what you find as you do that is that we all share the same basic human experience, right? The same stories, the same situations, the same emotions. They just have a little different color or flavor to them. So when you start to get that information out there, then we realize, oh, it's the same human experience that we're all sharing. Same when we touch each other, same when we play together. It brings back that childlike innocence. So in the game that we did in the beginning, you saw the touch was in what part? Holding hands and standing back to back, right? So we got those two ways of connecting to really, and when you're standing back to back, you can really make quite full physical contact, right, with people. And then in the play, what part was the play? Dancing, right? So I like to use fun music, and sometimes at the end I just like to have like a wild dance party and let people freak out and enjoy themselves, depending on your crowd. And then we had vulnerability, which was the sharing and talking, right? So how many of you guys in this room lead groups to some capacity right now in what you do? Okay, awesome. So I'd love to give you a little mini assignment right now. So thinking about if you're going to take this same exercise and you were going to apply it to a group that you work with. And if you don't currently work with groups, you could think about applying it to this group. You could think about if you do work that's one-on-one, if you took those people and put them in a group, what would that look like? So you're thinking about what would I be teaching them or leading them in, and who would be there? So if I was going to take this exercise, what sentence stems would I use? So what, like, I was giving you guys, the most important lesson I learned from my mother, or how I want to be, what legacy I want to leave. And that was all tied into the fact that we're here as women leaders stepping forward to share our voices. So I was thinking about, okay, what are the sentence stems that are going to be most impactful and relevant to this group, right? And even the music is like, we run the world, girls, yeah, like it's a fun song, it relates to what we're doing here. So just take a few moments to think about what might your sentence stems be for your event. And if you have a pen and paper, it'd be good to write them down. I'm saying sentence stem is like the beginning of the sentence that you want people to finish. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So it's so great sharing with you guys tonight. Thank you so much for playing with me and being willing to stand up and move around and hoot and holler and shake it with each other, and to really embrace this touch and playfulness and vulnerability, and to get to know each other just a little bit more. I've really enjoyed being with you guys this evening.